Hey guys, what is up? Another episode of the Smart Flip. Today, Matt's not with us today, but I am. So if you guys are just now tuning into the show, this is the Smart Flip, the Phone Flippers podcast. This is a podcast for somebody who's looking to start or master flipping phones and electronics, or honestly flipping anything. I'm your host. My name is Chris Schroeder. I've been flipping phones for going on 9 years now. And today we're diving into, we're going to be doing an interview again with Ken. We've interviewed him before. We interviewed him about 3 months ago. If you guys want to check that out, you guys can actually do so. It was episode 23. We are now on episode, I believe, 42. And that was back when he was doing about a little over $5,000 in profit a month. And he recently hit $12,000 in profit in 1 month. But before we get started, just want to make sure you guys grab our new 2025 Ultimate Guide to Phone Flipping. It is in our Facebook group. You can also grab our ebook. Uh, you can actually grab that on episode 11 of the podcast for free. And then if you want the PDF, you can buy that for $4.95. With that being said, let's jump into the podcast. How you doing, Ken?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing great. Happy to see you hitting right exactly where we said, even going a little bit further.
Yeah.
I told you the holidays were coming up, and typically when you're doing, 5 to 7 in the summer months, that's actually really good because the
Okay.
summer months are the slowest all the way up until the Apple release, right?
Yep.
So, I want to go over a couple of things that, changed for you, while you were, getting this, growing this business. So, what kind of changes or strategies did you implement to go from, you know, 5,000 a month to 12,000 in profit?
Well, I'm definitely a hard hitter on like reach outs and stuff, but I feel like I definitely was like focusing on getting more like repeat business during September, October. October is when I hit 12. September I had did 991, 9,100, and I can say it was mainly because of repeats and reach outs. Like half of my business is from reach outs and then the other is from repeats. I like those repeats, those good clean repeats, Verizon managers or people who work at phone stores or repair shops. I had a lot of those coming in, and then I noticed during that September, October-ish, everybody was selling like their 15 Pro Maxes, 14 Pro Maxes, and it was just easy to hit them. So, I was on Marketplace all day, every day. And my like Verizon plugs. They were hitting me up a lot. They were getting a lot of trade-ins, of course, because people wanted to get the 16. So, and I believe I increased ad spend just a little too. So I was
Yeah.
hitting it everywhere.
Love those trade-ins, because I've worked with a few of them before, and it's funny how many people will just leave their phone there. Sometimes not even trade it in, and
Yeah, that's
sometimes the employees will buy them back too. But a lot of times customers are just like, "No, I just want the new phone. Here's the old one," and they just leave it. Like it's crazy. Like they don't even do the trade-in credit sometimes. It's
yeah,
wild how many
yeah,
people do that.
yeah. I guess they're like finessing it some type of way, but
I don't know. But yeah, dude. I mean, I've looked at your sheet multiple times, and it's almost all like it's half repeat, right? Like, I want to go over that real quick too. Like the power of repeat business, right? Like in the beginning, most people don't realize what a repeat customer is. Can you sum up what a repeat customer looks like for you?
definitely somebody like you meet one time. Uh, I always try to hand them a business card or something, and they end up hitting you up with another device and then another device, then another device. But I feel like there's different type of repeats. Like I said, like you got the normal type of repeats who probably every time they upgrade or something, their family upgrades, they hit you up maybe
Yeah.
once every couple months, and then you got the repeats like who are getting multiple phones. Those are the best, but it's also good to keep those normal repeats though, because they're always upgrading and they know you're legit. They know how the process goes, so
Yeah.
they're hitting you up anyway. So
Yeah, I met up with a repeat yesterday who had sold me some stuff in the past. And he hit me up and I already had his contact information and everything saved. And he's like, "Hey, by the way, my name is Abraham." And I'm like, "Bro, I know. I've met you before." Like, and he was like, "Oh, cool." And he sold me an Oculus Quest 3 for 190. So easy close, right? Repeats are the easiest closes. These people know that you know business and that you're doing business, and they tell other people about you too, and that's awesome. And but you're right, there are different types of repeats. Um, hey, out. Hold on, my son barged in the door. 4 year olds. But love it, dude. So are there any systems that you were able to streamline like along the way, like going from five to 12? Because I also know you're still working a full-time job. Um, so let's talk about that too. Like you did 12,000 in profit in the month of October outside of your full-time job.
Right.
Let's like what is that like what is your system on that? Because a lot of people don't think that's possible working a 9 to 5 and making 12 grand or even 5 grand outside of a full-time job. Go over your process if you would.
Well, it's definitely work, gotta be willing to put in that work, that time, that effort. I'm real driven, so I'm willing to hit it all day, every day. So um I would say basically like just having certain systems put up like you're asking me right now. Do a lot of reach outs, so I'll follow up in the morning, do reach outs all day, every day. I set them up for a certain time, like maybe before work, uh break, and after work. Mainly after work. I'm always got something set up for after work, but that's just mainly how that goes. I'm always setting stuff up for each time of the day that I have free time. So
Awesome. So you're just buying stuff after work every day.
yeah, it's mainly after work, but I definitely try to get it before work. I mean, I'm 8:30 to 5, so
Yeah.
a lot of people are more flexible around that 5-ish p.m. type. So
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Because a lot of people, they make that like that's their biggest excuse, right? Is
right.
like, well, I work from 8:30 to 5 and you're over here doing, 12,000 in profit in 1 month, working 8:30 to 5. So I love it, man. So has your approach to sourcing products evolved at all, or were you just doing the same thing pretty much over and over? Uh, let's talk about that. Like, was it the same process pretty much every single day, and it just built upon like
Yeah,
each other?
yeah, I definitely feel like it's a compounding effect. But I would say like when I first started, first couple months, I was trying to like I was depending on one type of source. Like if one type of source was feeding me a lot, I would depend on that and I wouldn't be doing other things. But I learned that like if I really want to hit it, I gotta be doing all these type of things. Like when my first couple months I met my Verizon repeat, she recently just moved. She was a manager. She was giving me a lot of phones. I was getting a lot of phones just from her. So, sometimes I wasn't doing reach outs because I was solely depending on her. But I noticed like that month I did 12, October, I was getting a lot of phones from her. I was doing reach outs and I cranked up ad spend just a little. So, I was hitting my repeats up and it's just all a compounding effect. So yeah, I would definitely say it changed. Like I definitely try to hit all those categories every day. So
So it's important to keep your leads diverse, is what you're saying.
sure.
Keep them
Definitely.
coming in from all directions, basically.
Yeah. Never depend because I remember you would say that all the time. Like don't solely depend on repeats. And I definitely noticed that because once my Verizon repeat moved away, I seen like a chunk of that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that, I tell people that all the time. Is like, don't just depend on, quote unquote plug. Like a lot of people do that. Like a lot of people, that I talk to in the business, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I just buy from one person and that's all I need." And I'm like, "Bro, you're one move away from like not having a business."
No.
I don't think people realize that very much until it happens, right?
Right.
Like it has to happen for them to actually realize that that is a true statement. But I've told people that many times, and it's funny because those people they end up losing them, and they're like, Chris, how do I generate leads? How do I run Facebook ads? How do I, like they always reach back out, and they're like, I don't have a business now, basically. So, um, what would you say is what was the most challenging part about going from, I know you were 5 to 7. I like to say five. I like to manage expectations. Um, what was the most challenging thing from going from 5,000 to 12,000?
I
Or
would
was
say
it
man,
just
like
time?
because when I had 12, when I did 12 and that 9, and I think the month before I did like 7 or 8, it's definitely like a time thing, and like I just had so much inventory, so like it definitely was stressful, but it's a good type of stressful. So um, I would say yeah, that's one of the main factors: stress, time, and just inventory. So you definitely got to be organized.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that real quick. Like you're working 8:30 to 5. You're buying stuff after work. What does inventory look like in the like I'm sure you're up till I mean 12 probably
Yeah, definitely.
finishing all of that listing stuff, getting invoices sent out. Like what is it like? Let's talk about that.
Well, I was definitely gonna say I definitely use a lot of your tips, like when you first buy something, like if I go meet up with somebody, I'll go like in a parking lot after we're done, or I'll right then and there, I'll either try to list it if it's not too dirty or anything. If I don't gotta clean it up, I'll either list it, and I definitely try to tag it up with the IMEI number and put it in my sheet.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
way
So
I
you stay
don't,
in the buyer's high. Yeah.
like, because once you get to buying so many stuff, and
Yeah.
you lose track, and it's just you need to know your numbers. It's very important. You need to know your numbers.
I want to talk about that too, because over the past year, you have done incredibly well on managing your numbers. You went from tracking nothing, essentially, to tracking everything at this point.
Yeah.
You've become very meticulous about it. Um, and like, I know we've worked on your sheet multiple times, and I remember you're always reaching out, asking questions like, how do I improve this, or how do I fix this, or like, because now, where your pitfalls are, right? Like you know where you need to work, and become better when you know your numbers. So there's a saying out there by Hormozy. It's basically, if you don't track, you don't care, right? And I mean, I think that uh, shines a light on what you've done big time is because like just by the act of tracking, it makes you better because it makes you aware, right? It's kind of like tracking your weight every day, right? Like if you're trying to lose weight, it's good to measure your weight every day
Yeah.
because like if you go up by one or two, you're like, oh, okay, I gotta fix this, right? It's the same thing with your numbers on phone flipping, and I love that. I love that you've become so meticulous with that because that is going to transfer over into other areas of your life as well later on, massively, budgeting
Definitely.
wise and all of that. If it already hasn't, you know,
Definitely. Yeah.
because I know whenever I started tracking stuff, I'm like, oh wow, what else can I track? Like what else can I? I started learning how to track my life essentially, and yeah, so I love that one thing about you that's become definitely apparent, and it's awesome. Um, I want to talk real quick about mistakes. Um, going to 12,000 a month in profit. Um, what are some of the mistakes that you made along the way? Let's talk about that real quick because that's something a lot of people don't talk about, and I know you've had a couple. Um, so let's talk about them. What was your biggest mistake, in the past year and a half or so that you've overcome?
Off the top of my head, I can really only think of like just like as far as like buying devices, inspecting them. Or, sometimes it's not even mistakes. I'm not even sure like this is more specific, but like I know like with these 13 Pros, like this is very specific actually. Like with some of the 13 Pros and 13 Pro Maxes, I noticed some of them sometimes have a motherboard issue after you reset them. Like they'll be offline and then you'll reset them and it'll pop
Yeah.
up activation problem. And you could take a big hit on them. I took a hit on a couple of them. So, you know, but that also goes back to resetting it on the spot, instead of so that's definitely a mistake. And yeah, I would just say inspecting because also when you're dealing with DBs, direct buyers, the littlest scratch, littlest dent, anything can be a deduction. So you definitely got to be on it. But they're also learning mistakes. So next time you're buying, you're looking at these devices, you're looking for that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, that's probably the only like thing I can actually think of, unless you can, remind me, because I know I text you a lot, I ask you a lot of questions. Well, I used to, so
No, and that's part of the game, right? It's like you don't know something until you know something,
uh,
and like that's actually the next thing I want to move into is like how has being a part of a network and community and support helped you? Because I know you're active in Slack, like you're always asking questions. Like how has that been a massive thing for you?
oh, definitely, it's definitely a big help because sometimes you need to know things right in the moment, or you need to know something before you're meeting up with somebody, and there's a decent amount of people in there, so sometimes they're responding fast. Like Kevin, he's definitely a big help. He helped me a
Yeah,
lot. Like I didn't even know that you could like with Hammer Fusion. Like I didn't
yeah.
even you could go on there and pay a couple cents or a dollar, a couple of dollars to unlock AT&T devices when the AT&T portal isn't working. So him himself just telling me that probably profited me a lot because I had an AT&T manager who giving me a lot of like devices and they weren't unlocking on the website. And I remember going to the group chat and he responded uh pretty quickly and I went to there and it actually worked. So it's definitely a big help.
Dude. I mean, community is the best. Like, because it like not every course is going to have the solve to every problem, right? Like,
Uh,
and that you need other people that have been through similar experiences, and just like you said, like that one thing um, that Kevin shared has made you probably thousands of dollars at this point.
Absolutely.
Like, I didn't know personally, I didn't know about the AT&T Unlock portal for probably 2 years into the business. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I just sold AT&T as Clean ESN, and like that was it. And dude, once that unlocked, like once somebody told me that, they were, oh yeah, just go to the unlock portal on AT&T. And T. And I was like, what? I didn't know that even existed. Like, but like that unlocked profit forever. The ROI just on that alone was worth what I paid for admission into that program, right? And I don't like I think there's a lot of things out there that we don't even realize is out there whenever it comes to community. Like I've learned a lot of marketing stuff from our own community because a lot of people test different things, and I know you test different things too. And it's having that kind of mastermind going on where everybody's sharing ideas and testing things out. It's massive. It's a massive thing. It's totally underutilized, I think, but um, yeah, just little things like that. The hammer fusion thing was a you know I didn't even know about that part. Like Kevin had learned that, and then he shared it, and now a lot of people know about it. So pretty cool, right? So I want to look ahead here real quick, though. I want to like I know you got some specific milestones that you have, and I want to talk about that real quick. You always have like this. You got a specific goal. I believe it's saving up 100K. I think is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's something you told me repeatedly. Um, do you feel like you're on the way to that now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Does it feel good?
Yeah.
And now the only thing you need is time, right?
Right.
Because you have the system. The system works, and now you just gotta do the boring work, right? The same stuff every day. So can you talk about the monotonous stuff that basically is getting you where you gotten basically? Like your day is working, picking up devices. Is that pretty much what you do every day?
Yep. Every day, all day. And sometimes like with anything, you don't even want to do it, but I tell myself it'll make sense in the end. You get what I'm saying? Like I eventually want to work myself out of the business. So I know all these little steps and all these things that I do repeatedly over and over eventually all make sense in the end. So yep, I'm definitely doing the same stuff every day. Actually, I would say even with me still doing some pretty decent numbers, like I've actually like mellowed down a little, you know what I'm saying? Because like I'm just chilling right now, I'm doing
Yeah.
the same stuff. I'm not hammering it, but I'm doing, what I need to do.
Well, life is easier, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like you're stacking a couple of bands now, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely
things are a
feel
lot easier. Like you're not freaking out anymore over being able to not buy probably certain devices, right? So, and you've just gotten used to what it is. And so you've kind of hit that sweet spot where you can kind of coast and just, save up for your goals now. And I mean, eventually you'll probably be able to leave your job whenever you want to. And I really like the fact that you haven't yet. Like you have one singular goal right now, and it's to save up 100K. And
absolutely
so that's why you kept your job and you built this thing on the side. And by doing, let's just say 10 to 12K a month, dude, you'll be there in less than a year,
for
right?
sure.
Like that's big. Like imagine like being able to save up 100K in a year. It's incredible, right? And just like from a year and a half ago, whenever you joined Recelerator, like I mean, let's reflect on that real quick. Like I remember in the beginning you were having trouble, starting and staying in the program. Then you came back and you were like, I need this. And now, it's a complete 180. Now you're just kind of chilling.
Man, yeah, it's definitely like this business is crazy, but I mean, um, I feel like with anything, just staying consistent and putting in that work, you can definitely your whole life can definitely change in about 6 months, Not a drastic change, not too crazy, but it definitely can change. Because I remember like when I first joined, I'm just be completely honest, like I remember I paid for the first month, right? Then second month came around, you were like, it didn't go through. I had all my flipping money tied up into eBay. I can only afford consoles at the time. I wasn't really playing with phones, or I was playing with them and I was trying to get the most profit. So I was selling locally. Selling locally, you're gonna have to wait to get that right number. And I was being greedy, to be honest. But um,
Ooh,
I
I want to
remember,
highlight that real quick. Like you were being greedy, trying to get more locally, and it was taking a lot of time.
yeah,
That's what a lot of people do, especially in the beginning stages of this business. They wait, they hold out for that $20 more in profit when that $20 is costing you how much time? You know.
yeah.
But yeah, keep on going, dude. That was good.
Where were we at again?
I was just we were
Uh,
we were talking about it, like where you were in the beginning of Recelerator, whenever the second five the payment failed. Like,
right. Oh, okay. Okay. Right. 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 And then I remember I coasted off for a little bit. I was just, doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I remember I hit you up around last year, maybe December, January. I was like, January, I'm joining for sure. 100%. It's time to lock in. Let's do it. I had just met I'm actually grateful for selling locally because I actually met a overseas buyer. Of course, he's not overseas, but he's playing middleman. He's shipping overseas, but the prices were crazy. Like I remember at the time, Atlas was paying probably 550 for 13 Pro Max. He was paying 650, 675. So I really ran it up off him, and then I learned like, if you definitely want to scale, get the stuff off to the DB. Once you built a certain amount of capital, yeah, you can play with locally a little bit if DBs are gonna deduct too much on it or whatever the case may be or eBay. But yeah, definitely came a long way. I remember I was only playing with maybe $1,400 at the time I started. I had 2,000. I paid you, I believe it was five at the time, five a
yeah,
month.
500 payment. Yeah,
You know, I
yeah. And then
just
you then you
building
took
my
off.
way up. Yeah.
I remember. I remember that. Yeah. And I remember you coming back, and it was like, "Hey, dude, what's up? Welcome back," kind of thing. And I think we did another onboarding too. with Matt. One thing I do want to talk about, you spoke on it a little bit, was you were mostly doing consoles in the beginning. Um, can we talk about that for a second? Because I mean, Matt's not on the call today, but I want to talk. I want to kind of highlight this because, well, let me just ask this question: like, why were you focusing on consoles in the beginning? Most people are scared to work with consoles because they're so used to phones. So why did you work on consoles in the beginning?
Cheaper investment, bigger ROI, return on investment. So I remember at the time, maybe December-ish, January-ish. The Quest 3 was out, I believe so. I was hammering like that's one thing, like these
Love
trends
the
come
Quest
around, especially in the consoles, and you gotta abuse it. I was abusing it. So
3.
I was noticing how fast like some the controllers and the headsets were selling. I got me a little setup to put the I got a white box to put the console and the controllers in, got my pictures good. They would always sell within a couple of days, sometimes even same day. And once you built yourself up on eBay, the payments are coming out next day to your bank account. So um yeah, definitely. And that helped me definitely build my capital up. I was making every time off the Quest 3 at least 130 at least.
I remember
Sometimes
you posting in the Slack group every time you were getting a Quest 3. It was like all the time.
yeah.
You were hammering the shit out of those things in your area.
Yeah.
But like there's only a certain window, like with every device too. Like there's only a certain window of time where like it's at like the perfect price in the market, but it's also like old enough as well where people aren't that attached to it anymore. Like I remember this clearly with the iPhone 7 Plus quite a few years ago. Like I remember I would buy them for 120 and they would always sell for 240. And there was like a 6 month time frame where that was just constant thing. And I've also noticed that with the Quest 2. That happened for a while. The Quest 2, we were buying and selling the absolute hell out of that for quite a while. Now they're not nearly as in demand as they used to be. And now we lowball the crap out of them because they sell slow. And the Quest 3 has kind of taken the mantle in being that quick to sell item. I bought one yesterday for 190, like with all the bells and dude had covers on it and everything. It was nice. Like I was like, ah man, it had that elite head strap too.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, this
It'll
is
sell for a
great.
little bit more.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I might keep this one for myself for 190. Like, you know, you get those deals and you're just like, I should keep this. Like, this is too good of a deal, but I'm gonna sell it. But I love it, dude. So in the beginning, consoles were the way to go because it was a higher ROI. You could stack your cash with less investment, and I want everybody to listening to like understand that you can invest $60 to $80 in buying a MetaQuest 2 and flip it for 150 total. Like that's a fantastic ROI. Where with phones, you don't get that same type of ROI most of the time, right? We can spend 450 and make 80, which is still not bad. It's better than a day of work, right? But there's just not the same ROI there. And that's one reason I do love switches, consoles, cameras. I love cameras. Cameras are like amazing ROIs. But Ken, how old are you again?
Just turned 23.
It's not even fair. I started this business when I was 23. You're so much further than I was. But do you have any advice for the listeners? A lot of the people listening to this are either beginner phone flippers, they've been flipping for a while, or they are experts, doing 5K plus a month. What's one piece of advice you could give someone that's trying to grow their business?
Definitely invest in your knowledge and your education. Without the program, I'll still probably be spinning my wheels. I feel like you should definitely always invest into your education, especially like when you're trying to do something like you're flipping or whatever you're doing, invest into reputable type of program. Because these people are they've did this for years, so you're just soaking up all that knowledge and you can apply it. So that's definitely what I did. Like I said, I listened to a lot of your advice and I apply it. So and it definitely makes life a lot easier.
For those that are, obviously Recelerator is an expensive program. Um, but for the people that, they don't have a whole lot of money right now, were you somebody that watched my YouTube channel a lot in the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what were the videos that you focused on the most, if you can remember?
Hmm. The interviews, because I remember
Interviews.
you've been doing those for a while now. Of course, you like sped them up now, like you're knocking them out. But at the time, I remember you were interviewing people like Kayla, Jared. I would always watch those type of stuff, and they always had those come up type of stories. The 9 to 5 stories or how they were at college, and you get to thinking to yourself like, I could do that too. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I would definitely just say apply yourself. Get your feet wet, get your capital up a little bit, and well, definitely. Now that you bring up your YouTube channel, you have a lot of good free information on there. So,
Yeah, I do that for a reason. We give everything away and sell the implementation, right? So
um,
for everybody who like the reason I give away so much free information, well, number one, we're buying stuff now. Like Aaron buys stuff, and obviously I get a I'm working with him on that. So the more information I give you guys, the more money I make indirectly, right? Um, by buying devices, and then on top of that, um, we I give away a lot of the information for free to help you guys get to that like place where you're making about $1,000 in profit per month. Because that's the hardest mountain to climb in this business. Let's be real. Like like that first 1K is the most difficult part of the entire business. Um, and then we love to work with people that are doing a little bit more than that, and we do really well with those people too, taking the 3xing their business, 5xing their business, whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, for anybody that's watching, we don't just do the podcast. I have a ton of just like whiteboard videos, Facebook ad videos, all sorts of videos to help you guys grow your business. And that's probably what Ken watched before he actually joined Recelerator. So, because I know some people out there will also listen to this podcast, and Ken, you might do this too because you drive a lot. A lot of people out there listen to this podcast while they're driving.
yeah, I listen to all of them. Well, most of them.
That's what everybody keeps telling me is they're like, I listen to this while I'm driving around picking up deals. And I'm like, that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, you could definitely, and then you can always pick up some nuggets with when people are talking on here. So,
Dude, I remember whenever my mentor Dave was doing interviews, I would listen to all the interviews because there would be like sometimes like you're totally right about the nuggets. Like sometimes they'll just drop one little piece and you're just like, "Oh shit, I never thought about that." And it can totally be a game changer for your entire business. But then also sometimes it's just like hearing those people, it's just like what you were saying earlier, it's like I just do the same thing every day and it compounds upon each other, you know? Kind of like investing in a way, right? The more you put in, it just compounds. Same thing with knowledge. That's how it works. But dude, we're gonna wrap it up there. Congratulations on, having your first 5-figure month. Um, did you celebrate it all? Or did you just get
um,
back to work?
yeah, I don't believe so because I feel like it's one of those things like you might be thinking it's so far away and then you hit it and you're like, what else? Like, what's next? It feels good, but like it's not how you thought it would feel.
Yeah. I remember you messaging me and you were like, Chris, I'm at 9,500. And then you were like, oh, wait, I got to add all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, I hit 10. And then you were like, oh, I hit 12.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because I remember I messed up the sheet. I had a extra bar or something. You had to
yeah, I had to
fix
go
it.
fix it. Yeah. But
Yeah,
seeing that, I remember you texting me, you're like, it's here now. It's here now. And I forgot to add this. And like, that was awesome to see. You were so excited.
yeah,
But I like the quote Andy Frisella has. He's like, I'll celebrate for 24 hours and then I get back to work. And I feel like that, like, what a lot of people do is they'll have a month like that and then they'll celebrate for a week, you know, and then it'll totally derail their entire business. But that's not you. Outside of that, dude, congratulations, man. It's awesome to
appreciate it.
see what you've done. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do later on, especially with all the skills that you have now. And you'll probably hit that $100,000 saved you know, very soon. How far away are you? If you don't mind me asking.
Um, Probably say like 50%.
Not bad, dude. Fantastic. Good stuff. Yeah, you'll hit it by probably mid next year then. Probably
Yeah,
by
that's
June.
that was the goal. Like I'd like to give it a little bit of room. I was saying at least by the end of next year. So
Well, congratulations.
sure,
Good stuff,
thank you,
dude.
man.
Well, with that being said, guys, this has been another episode of the Smart Flip. I appreciate you guys listening. I know a lot of you guys are listening in your car. I really appreciate it. If you guys could leave some love in the comments, if you guys have anybody you want me to interview, feel free to drop their name in the comments. I'd love to, bring them on. I think that would be super cool. Um, one more, remember that we have our guide to flipping electronics in our Facebook group. You got to join the Facebook group to check it out. And then we also have our Tech Flips Profit ebook. You can either listen to it for free on episode 11, or you can buy the PDF for $4.95. Appreciate you guys. And Ken, always a pleasure, dude. Looking forward to seeing where you go.
Thank you.